Well, that was definitely a show to behold. Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your set. I am Hitman Cos. Welcome to your official review for Night of Champions. And of course, I'm not alone in this endeavor. Please welcome, as always, the humble man Gary. Gary, welcome to the contracts.
Yo. What's good, my man, Cos Payton?
Ain't shit, man. Ready to get into this?
Let's do this shit like Brutus, you know it.
Alright. Now, before we begin, we have to issue a big apology. We forgot to, give our predictions, but, shit got crazy, and truth be told, I actually lost sight of the calendar, so I didn't realize, what date it was by the time the pay-per-view rolled up, and by the time it showed up, I realized that we were too late, so I was like, fuck it, there's no use in putting it up, because by the time I figured it out, it was the day of the pay-per-view when we realized it. So, sorry about that. We're gonna do better, and hopefully we don't do that again.
Right. Our sincere apologies.
But anyways, we're here. We're coming at you with the results. So here we go. So
Here we go.
Starting off, we have the King of the Ring final: Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Needless to say, this crowd was lit as hell to start things off. But I mean that goes without saying.
Most deaf.
But one thing I liked for Orton's entrance was that they gave him his waterfall pyro.
Oh yeah.
Freaking gave me a throwback to the old days. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And it was on to the match. We had a pretty good one going on. Orton storyline injured his back a little. This played a little bit of a role into it. Orton at one point he hit the RKO. No, he tried to hit the RKO, but Cody countered, hit Crossroads, but Orton kicked out.
That's correct.
Yeah, then there was another time where Cody tried to hit the disaster kick, but then Orton countered, hit the RKO, but then Cody kicked out. And there's something that I just want, the nerd in me wants to point out, that for those of y'all that remember, when Cody Rhodes first started using the disaster kick back when he was dashing Cody Rhodes, he called it Beautiful Disaster. That's right. Just wanted to point it out.
Right.
Anyways, the match comes to an end when Randy Orton goes up the ring and gets a chair, but he uses that as a distraction because while the ref is getting rid of the chair, Orton then unties the turnbuckle pad and exposes it. To which then he tries to throw Cody into it, but Cody turns the tables on him, and Orton gets thrown into it, and then that leaves him wide open to get hit with Crossroads, and Cody Rhodes is your King of the Ring, and he will be going on to challenge for the WWE title.
Right.
Now, I'll be honest. I understand that they're doing this so Cody can have his return match against Cena for what happened at WrestleMania. But I'll be honest. I really wanted Orton to win, just because last year, he got hoed out of that match because he got pinned, quote unquote, but but his shoulders weren't on the mat. You know.
Right.
You remember that? Everybody remembers that. I remember they were everybody was rightfully throwing a fuss about it because his shoulders weren't on the mat. But you know, it is what it is. Moving on, we have Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. I think it was a street fight. There was some pretty crazy moments here. Now, first off, there was a time where Rhea, she got wrapped up in the ropes and was completely helpless. To which then Raquel went to town on her with a Singapore cane. Then, of course, you know, there was an announce table spot. Raquel powerbombed Rhea through the announce table, but Rhea got her revenge for what happened with the ropes, where she took off her belt and put belt to ass and was whooping Raquel like she just got caught sneaking out. She was like, oh my god, that was so funny. At least for me it was, because it brought back unpleasant memories. But thanks, Ma. But yeah. Yeah. And then later on, she did in my opinion, a shout out to both Damian Priest and Razor Ramon, RP, when she hit the Razor's Edge.
Most def.
Then we had a special guest where Rhea Ripley locked in the Prism Trap, but during the hold, Roxanne Perez pulled up and broke it up.
Oh yeah.
To which then she got a garbage can put on her for her troubles, and then Rhea kicked it.
Right.
Then we had then when it came to the end of the match, Raquel, she tried to hit the Tejana bomb through a table, but Rhea actually countered with a Hurricanrana of all things, and that shit was crazy. And then that left Raquel wide open to get hit with the Riptide. Well, while they were on the table instead of through the table. That part was disappointing, but hey, it is what it is. But anyways, Rhea wins the match thanks to the Riptide.
Right.
Well, the match was pretty dope.
Yeah, it was. That was dope.
I enjoyed it, but I'll admit, when Roxanne interfered, I expected her to do a little more.
Oh, word.
Just because, you know, when someone interferes, you know, they usually do, in my opinion, do a lot more than what she did. So yeah, I just felt she didn't do enough. Especially at the fact that you know, it was no DQ because it was a street fight, you know. So she could have done more, should have done more. But again, that's just how I feel. Moving on, we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Let me just take this time to say that I'm happy that Karrion Kross is getting more TV time. You know, with him finally having a gimmick that's over and that's working. You know, I'm happy. He definitely deserves it. You feel me?
Right.
Now, go ahead.
So yeah, match was. I mean, yeah.
All right, and honestly, the match itself, it was basic. but it didn't need to be anything fancy. It was just to progress their story. You feel me?
Right.
So, but in any case, Cross got his licks in. He was able to lock in the cross jacket, but didn't finish it. Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick in. Sami Zayn wins, but this ain't over. If y'all saw Raw, this thing ain't over. It's far from over.
That's not.
Yeah, freaking. Oh, and actually, one thing I forgot to mention before we move on, with the King of the Ring finals. In my opinion, I think Randy Orton's gonna turn heel.
Me too.
Because
I'm fucking with him.
Because if you guys paid attention to the look on his face while Cody was celebrating, that in my opinion showed that he's gonna turn heel.
I'm waiting on that shit.
Definitely. And don't get me wrong, Randy Orton can work being a face and work being a heel beautifully, but his best work comes as a heel.
Hell fucking yeah.
Anyways, moving on. We have Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa for the U.S. title.
Another great match. The outcome I'm okay with. I love them both, but we'll continue before we get to the outcome.
Yeah. So, there was a very dangerous spot that I'm glad didn't go as bad as it could have went. In which Jacob Fatu, he hit the Swanton bomb. And let me say this. 9 times out of 10, he'll hit that flawlessly. But this time could have ended so badly. Because he just barely avoided hitting his head.
Right.
Anyways, on towards the end of the match, we had a little interference from JC Mateo. But more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, after the grueling War Games match, many months on the shelf, the GOAT, the greatest, that man, Tonga Loa is back. Ladies and gentlemen, Tonga Loa is back. Let me say it one more again. Tonga Loa is back.
Oh yeah.
So, but unfortunately, Tama Tonga is still out. But it's all right. Well, a little further on, Jacob Fatu was able to take out JC, and then actually no, he took out both JC and Tonga Loa with this crazy ass diving move that he hasn't even performed in WWE. He hasn't hit the move since his days in MLW. But yeah, he still hit it here, and it was crazy.
Right.
Then at the end, Jacob Fatu, he hit the double jump moonsault on the Solo, but there was no count. And then after that, he got yanked out the ring by none other than Hikuleo.
Oh yeah.
Now, for those of y'all that don't know, Hikuleo is Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he actually was signed to WWE for a little bit, but he was doing matches on Main Event, and as I predict, and I wish we'd done the predictions because I was going to say all this because I thought this was going to happen because I knew that he was in WWE, but he was doing matches on Main Event, but as far as I felt, and I'm pretty sure that I'm correct, that he was only doing matches on Main Event just so he can get his feet wet, and just to prep him and get him ready for prime time, you know? Know what I'm saying? And honestly, I think he's more than ready. You know? But there is going to be a slight change up. And and you know what that is, right? Yo. Well,
Right.
now, yo, do you know what that difference is gonna be? I'll take that as a no.
Right.
No. Now, yo, one last time.
Hold on.
What?
Match, I want to say I love that match with Jacob and Solo. I mean, the fact that Solo is the United States champion, I have no problem with that. I love them both, but like, I want my boy Jacob to retain or my boy Solo to get it, because when my boy Solo came, he needed a mid-card title, so it's about time that giving it to him, and the fact that they waited this long.
Yeah, but back to what I was saying, you know what? I said there was going to be a little change-up when it came to Hikuleo. Do you know what the difference is?
What's that difference?
Well, for those of y'all listening, if you guys remember, WWE set, there was reports of WWE filing for a copyright of a certain name, of a certain ring name. And and people were confused about the name, but now as I had a hunch, I wasn't certain, but turns out I was right, in which they had in which they filed a copyright for the name Talatonga. And as I thought, that is now Hikuleo's new name. He will now be known in WWE as Talatonga. And of course, and a lot of people are roasting it just because of how close it is to Tamatonga. And don't get me wrong, I understand. However, if I'm not mistaken, the name Talatonga is actually close to his real name. Now, of course, given how most Pacific Islanders like the Anoa'i family have their names being, I'm not going to pronounce it because there's too many letters, and I'm going to sound like a fool if I even try.
Wow.
But yeah. And but moving forward, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Solo's title run go. But before we continue, there's something I really got to get off my chest once again. And that's, don't get me wrong, I'm happy seeing Solo win. He deserved this title, but this once again, oh my God, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Probably do.
That, don't get me wrong, it's nice seeing Solo getting the title. It's long overdue, but when is it gonna be Jimmy's time?
Oh my God, I would not debate you there.
Because I look at it now. His twin brother not only got a middle title, but he got the world title. Freaking his younger brother got a middle title, but other than tag titles, freaking Jimmy ain't got shit.
Exactly.
I can't even count the tag titles because we're not talking about those. I'm talking about singles titles. So, like I said, Jay got not only a middle title, but he got a world title. Freaking Solo, he's got a middle title, and Jimmy ain't got shit. When is it gonna be Jimmy's time?
Exactly.
Because like seriously, when is it gonna be Big Bro's time? Because as far as I'm concerned, they're bullshitting with him right now. Don't get me wrong, I'm down with his alliance with what's his face? With Jacob Fatu. But what fucking good does that do for him, man? That does nothing.
Exactly.
That does nothing for him. He's, as far as I'm concerned, he's stuck in purgatory, man. He's because they're not because sure, he's on TV, but they're not progressing him. They're not making him look stronger. They're not trying to get him some more wins or get him on a more important storyline. Like I said, they're bullshitting with him. And and in the meantime, sure, he's still in a storyline, but in my opinion, he's still getting lost in the shuffle. You know? And he shouldn't be getting lost in the shuffle because he's every bit as talented as Jay and Solo. I don't know, man. So something really needs to fucking change, man. Cause
I ain't gonna hold you. Yeah, Jimmy needs something.
Cause he deserves a push.
Exactly. Rumor has it that they was gonna put him and Jay back together. If that happens, great. Get another tag.
No. That's taking two steps back.
Exactly.
Because the whole point of them being singles stars was for them to get singles gold and establish themselves as singles competitors. And they've already done that and they've done a great job with that with Jay, because he's a main event star. He's over as fuck with the crowd. He's pushing merch by himself. He's showing that he can be by himself and do all this. Meanwhile, they're not doing shit with Jimmy.
Exactly.
And if they put the Usos back together, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind them being back together. But like I said, it's taking two steps back because they're literally saying that we can't do nothing with Jimmy as a single star, or basically it'll be them saying that we can't do anything as a single star, even though they haven't given them a chance. So let's just put them back together, and that's not cool.
Good.
Anyways, moving on, we have the Queen of the Ring finals: Asuka versus Jade Cargill. Now I'll say for a good minute, well, actually for a majority of the match, Asuka was putting Jade through hell with her technical prowess. Like her technical prowess and her submission prowess, she was giving Jade fits. And Jade, she was doing everything she could just to survive, you know? But you know, but regardless of everything, Jade eventually does get the win, where she hits Jaded, and she does get the pin. But I couldn't help but notice that she actually botched the pin, because when she does the whole thing where she leans back for the pin, she actually got Asuka's shoulder off the mat, if you noticed. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Just because,
right.
What happened?
Right, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but you know, but of course it allowed all the haters in the IWC to have something to try and call out about Jade and say that she isn't ready. You know, just bullshit, you know? Anyways, all that aside, it's now time, ladies and gentlemen, for the main event: CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE title. And I'll tell you what, man, I should be,
right.
Given how long we've been watching this, you've been watching it since you was a kid. What wouldn't you say? Or like since you was like maybe a preteen, young teen, something like that.
crazy.
Yo.
Yo.
No, I'm saying you've been watching this since you was a kid, right?
Most definitely.
And you've seen lit crowds, right?
Of course.
You know, it's crazy how even in the main event, the crowd was still as lively as it was when the show started. You know?
Yes, it appears to me. Yep, that's correct. And being that you said that, something you noticed too, and it appears to me it's like whenever they go anywhere else overseas, the crowd is crazy.
See, the reason why that is because it originates. Well, the company, they normally are in the U.S. because it originates in the U.S. So going to other countries, you know, is a novelty.
Right.
So,
right.
And so, like anything in life, when you have something that's a novelty that doesn't happen at a regular, you want to cherish.
Right.
You want to cherish it when it happens, and make the most of it.
Exactly.
Which is why
Exactly.
the crowds are as lit as they are, because you know it's great that they're here, but at the same time you don't know when they'll be back, or if you'll have the money to go to that event when they come back, or if they come back, you know.
Correct.
And especially in this case, when it comes to John Cena, where you have to go, because if you don't, you're never going to get the experience again, because this is Cena's final run.
Yes, right.
Now, anyways, on to the match. Honestly, I think part of me, in a way, think they at least they treated this match as a proper sequel to their match at Money in the Bank 2011.
I see what you mean.
Just because of all the stuff that went down, you know?
Exactly.
Like, for one thing, Cena hit the attitude adjustment mad times, but Punk kept kicking out.
Right.
But then, so stuff that I feel that was similar that made me think this is like when Cena locked in the STF, but like at Money in the Bank, Punk countered it and turned it into the Anaconda Vice.
Right.
Then, like I said, what happened?
Yep, I finished that earlier today.
Yeah. But in any case, you know, this was still pretty dope. But this part I thought was crazy, where Punk, he tried to hit a crossbody. Cena hit the attitude adjustment, but again, Punk kicked out. But then what happened? But then afterwards, Cena, he grabbed the title, and you know, we're thinking that here we go again. He's gonna use it as a weapon, yada yada yada. But in a lapse of judgment,
right,
the crowd, I don't know how, actually convinced him not to use it. So, despite his heel run and everything, he actually didn't, at least right now, he did not use it. But yeah. So it's then Cena tried to hit the attitude adjustment, but Punk hit the GTS, but Cena kicked out again. Then later on, Cena regained the upper hand, and then he tried his 5 moves of doom, starting with the shoulder tackles as usual. But when he tried to hit the shoulder tackles, he was doing it slower than usual. But when he tried one of the shoulder tackles, Punk ducked and the ref got hit. So now the ref's out. So, and then while the ref was out, Punk hit the GTS and he had the pin. He had the pin, but the ref was out. So now freaking he's frustrated because as far as he's concerned, he actually clearly shown he should have won because he had the pin, but there was no ref to count it. But the fun began.
Right, yeah, man, for real.
But the fun began in a couple of seconds because then Seth Rollins came out.
Oh yeah.
So while he came out, we're thinking that once again, we're going to have WrestleMania 31 all over again. To which then Bronson Reed and Ron Breakker then attack CM Punk.
Right.
And I couldn't help but notice that they botched the double choke slam, in which they put Punk on the announce table, but not through it. But regardless, Punk was out of the equation. Seth then called to the back for a ref, and this actually, well, I'm gonna get to that in a sec. But the ref came running down to the ring, to which then he got walloped. He got blasted by Cena. Cena fucking shoulder checked the shit out of him. Like this shit reminded me of when I think when Chris Jericho faced Rhino, I think for the European title, and Jericho had the lion tamer in, and Rhino was tapping, but the ref was out. Then another ref was coming down to the ring, and of course he was gonna ring the bell because Rhino was tapping. But before he could get into the ring, Shane McMahon freaking blasted the living hell out of him. That's what that reminds me of. But in any case, yeah. So yeah. Now we have two refs out of the equation. Then Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker take out John Cena. But then out comes Penta, and this is so hilarious. Cause yo, you watch AEW, right? If you guys remember when Jeff Hardy debuted in AEW, while Matt was getting jumped, the music hit and he came out, and instead of just immediately just running down to the ring, he did his usual dance, then ran to the ring. The same thing happened here, where Penta came out, did his pimp walk before running down to fight Braun. And don't get me wrong, I'm always down to see Penta hit that pimp walk, but niggas are getting their ass kicked, man. Do that another time. Ricky, you coming out, make haste. But in any case, Penta comes out, fights Braun, but Braun was able to get the upper hand. Then Sami Zayn came out and fought Braun on the side of the stage, to which then Penta then dived on the both of them. Then Bronson Reed was about to hit the tsunami onto Cena, but then before he could, Punk actually pushed him off the turnbuckle, to which then allowed Cena to hit the attitude adjustment onto Bronson. Then we had a brief moment of clarity where both Cena and Punk were in the ring staring each other down. And Punk, he extends the olive branch. And to which then, after much hesitation, Cena does shake Punk's hand. However, as they then break into a hug, similar to what happened during his heel turn, you know, he is hugging Punk, but then has that same frown on his face. Then when they break apart, he tries to do what he did then and hit a low blow. However, Punk sees it coming, tries to hit the GTS, but Cena fights out of it. And then as he fights out of it, Punk turns around and Seth pops him in the face with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Then hits the curb stomp. But before he can even capitalize, Cena throws him out the ring, pins Punk, and Cena, by the skin of his teeth, retains the WWE title. Absolutely crazy. In my opinion, I think this truly, like him winning like this, in my opinion, truly solidifies Cena's stance as a heel. Because for him to win the title by the skin of his teeth like this, and you couldn't ask for a more infuriating way for a heel to win. So I think that this was perfect. And and with that being said, that's going to set up that once again is going to set up Cena versus Cody. People, I think they're still gonna look forward to it, but I don't know, man. Yeah, well, now, I know people are still gonna look forward to it, but
apologies.
No, don't worry about it. But anyways,
The Cena Punk match. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, what was your take of that whirlwind ending? I forgot to ask you.
For the Cena Punk match?
Yes, sir.
Honestly, the match was good. It was good, but it's like,
I mean,
was it better?
What happened?
Was it better than any of the past matches? Hard and tough, but it was good.
Man, nah, yo, that was a fucking whirlwind ending. If I'm being honest, that was crazy.
I think I know what you mean. In other words, like the ending could have been better.
No. Nah, it was a whirlwind ending. Like it was so unpredictable and shit because all the interferences. You feel me?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that's definitely correct. Yes.
But I will admit, the match looked a little too similar to Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania 40 because of the interferences.
Yeah, that is right.
Like, don't get me wrong. I understand like maybe one or two interferences, but with the amount of interferences it had, it just felt like the Bloodline Rules match again, you know?
Right.
But nonetheless, I'm not taking that away from anything. It was still a great match.
Oh yeah, it was.
And this, in my opinion, is going to perfectly build up to Cena versus Cody at SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. But also, there's also something else I got to get off my chest. And that is, I will say that, yeah, once again, that CM Punk once again got screwed out of the WWE title. But once again, I feel no sympathy. None. Zero. For me, this was more karma for Punk. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Drew McIntyre. After all the times that this fucker screwed Drew out of his title opportunities, this is your karma, asshole. I said it the last time you got screwed over, and I'm going to keep saying it every time you get screwed over. This is your karma. You refuse to take responsibility for your actions. For every time you screwed them over, this is your karma. So I look forward to seeing you get screwed over time and time again for every title match you get until you finally get it.
Right. I understand.
Or at least until or at least if Drew gets a world title before you.
Wow. Damn.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Punk, but he pissed me off every time he screwed over Drew.
Oh, no, I see what you mean.
So, yeah. But, honestly, I don't see Punk going after the title again. He's probably going to be feuding with Seth.
Right, yeah.
And I know that I'm bringing this into Raw, but I have to. And that has me thinking this. I know, Seth has the new heel faction and shit, but can you really say that they're the top heel faction on Raw?
Exactly. I don't know.
Because for me, the answer is no. The reason why is because of the Judgment Day. Because here's the thing. At one point, the Judgment Day looked weaker than ever after Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley got kicked out.
Exactly.
But you look at it now, they've resurrected themselves again, and they're back.
Exactly.
And they're back in dominance again. But and being a fan of the Judgment Day, like I've been a fan since day one. I'm happy to see this, but again, this has me feeling, what's the point of Seth's faction trying to be the top heel faction if the Judgment Day is back being dominant again? And they're back being dominant again because now, like a while back, all the members have titles again. Because not counting Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez are the women's tag champs. Dominic's the IC champ. And now, if you guys saw Raw, Finn Balor and JD McDonough are the world tag champs again.
Exactly.
So now, once again, Judgment Day is running things.
Exactly.
So, if they really want Seth's faction to be the top heel faction on Raw, two things need to happen. Number one, they need to decimate the competition more, and Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker need to get some titles. That's number one. And number two, they need a name.
Exactly.
I don't know how many times this has been said by people, but they need a name. All the dominant factions, face and heel, had a name. They need a name, because without a name, they don't have an identity.
Right. Exactly. That is correct.
But before I get even further off Keister, but we're gonna end it here. I definitely want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming through. And as always, I want to thank the humble man coming through, kicking his wrestling knowledge.
Yep. You already know. It will be coming right back here at y'all next week with the predictions for WWE NXT Great American Bash and also WWE Evolution Part 2.
Yeah. And speaking of Evolution, I found no, forget it. Nope, I ain't talking about it. I ain't bringing it up. Not yet. Nope. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go and hit the like button. Comment if you feel like it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And as always, Struggle Vision Productions. It's the Hitman and the Humble Man. If you see us coming, run.